What's up? This is just part two. I say too way too much, but this is just the second of the installments of podcasts. I guess I still don't know why the fuck I'm doing them, but sure, look, fuck it, won't kill me like the coronavirus. But yeah, this is episode two. As you saw from the title, the topics are going to be the coronavirus and the fact that your secondary school wants you to become a robot. And I know that might sound like some sort of psycho fucking the system is watching you, dude. They're fucking on me, man. But like, it makes sense in a sense when I break it down. But school days are your best days. Like that's a term thrown around all the time when you're in school, and you don't really realize it's true until you leave and enter the real world. Like, for which you're like very unprepared by your school in doing so. Like the majority of the time, anyways. But I always found in school like it was semi decent. There was times that I absolutely hated it. I remember saying to me business teacher, if the term school days are your best days are true, and from here on it's worse, then I'll be dead by the time I'm 20. Like I was half joking saying that, but like little did I know I'd actually eventually become suicidal at one point. But no, this podcast isn't to do with mental health or anything. This is just in particular for people doing their leaving cert and how you're often misled, in my experience, by your school and the guidance counsellors just to get a college course, even though you have no idea what you want to do with your life. My like guidance counsellor in school, he was always mad for us to fill out the CAO forms and get a course down, like regardless of what it was. Like I remember him like asking me 3 times a week during 6 year, like, what course are you doing? Do you want to do horticulture? Right, he was a mad culture, but like, and for anyone who doesn't know what horticulture is, it's the art or practice of garden cultivation and management. It's basically a degree in fucking gardening, right? And the more I look into it, the more I realise the reason he wants us desperately to get into a course so badly, and to put it simply, to give the skill clout, basically. Like, when you go into a course straight from 6 year, regardless of what that course is, the school's, quote, students who continue to third level success rate increases. This gets back to the point that you're just a number in a shitty education system. Like, whenever any of us remotely suggested taking a gap year to the guidance counsellor, he'd flip and tell us we're stupid to even think of it because we never returned to third level then, and we'd be too used to money, he used to say. And like I'm just going off my experience in secondary school here. Like I don't know how other guidance counsellors act regarding the issue, but I know like that he never told us about the possibility of a J1. Never encouraged us to travel after 6 year. The only important thing to him or any other of the teachers was that we started a course, regardless of how much we might hate it in a year from then. Like, now, I'm not saying like degrees don't matter because we're in a society that if there's a particular job you really want to do, you're going to need a degree in that field or something similar. Like, do you know what I mean? A degree on a CV also shows like commitment. Like, you finished the course, you studied for your exams, and you passed them. That's the type of commitment an employer looks for. So, like, don't think for the second I'm being a degrees and money don't matter, dude. Like, I'm not. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not that type of person. I'm like, unless you want to go hopping from job to job for the rest of your life, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with, then a degree in this society is completely necessary. Like, but what I am saying is the worst mistake anyone can make is jumping straight into a course in something they know nothing about straight from school, just to keep their school and their parents happy. Like anyone in their final year of school now, I'd recommend more than anything to take a year, 2 years, 3 years off after school. You're fucking 18. You're made to think that you're supposed to have it figured out by that age, but numerous studies, literally studies and experiences show that we don't have it figured out at that age. Men, for example, their frontal cortex, that's where your personality is developed in the front part of your brain, that isn't fully developed until we're 27 or 28. So if you're below that age, which I'm guessing a lot of people listening to this podcast are, you haven't even met your real self yet. Like, and like it annoys me when people say, look, the leaving doesn't matter, just as like an excuse not to study. Like, I mean, in theory, you can do any course you want when you turn 23 as a mature student. So yeah, the leaving doesn't really matter in that sense. But in the round, it's good to commit and get a result that you're happy with. Like, now, I'm not knocking people who go straight from school to college by any means. If you know from a young age that you want to be an accountant and then you do accountancy after 6 year and it works, happy fucking days. I just know way too many cases, like myself included, of people who dived headfirst into a course that they ended up hating, and they had to drop out while seeing everyone else progress in their heads and ended up thinking they're some sort of failure just because they were pushed into a course that they hated without their knowledge. I think like the best thing to do is take a gap year, see the world, find yourself. Don't let school and system in this country decide who you are. this might be a real cliche and cringy thing to say to some people, but like if I could do it again, I'd easily take a gap year with a half decent paying job until I had enough to do a little bit of traveling. I'd go see some shit and do some shit and shit that I couldn't see or do that if I was stuck in a job in a course that I hated. If I think I done like I think if I done that, like I would have realised earlier that the field I want to get into has always been like comedy, entertainment, and creativity, basically. Which, like, of course, in a lot of people's eyes, is an unrealistic field to break into. But I think I'm young enough to say it's worth a shot. Like that's not why I'm making these podcasts. So like, this isn't a career thing. This is just so I can shy talk, like basically. But that's my advice to young people doing the leaving. Study to the best of your ability. If like you're certain of what you want to do, happy fucking days. Like if the course you put on number one spot in your CAO application makes you excited to think of, then great, go for it. You can always switch careers later on. Like different ways into courses as well. That's something that the school never told me, was like how there's loads of different ways into a course. Like for example, how I got into my course, like I got offered a earn and learn type position, or similar to an apprenticeship in a civil engineering company. And like I never liked construction in school. Like it was a funny class, you know what I mean? Like we used to like take the proper piss out of the teacher, like, so it was great. But like, well, like we're young, do you know what I mean? So like it was funny. It was a really funny class, like. But I never liked construction as a subject. It didn't interest me. I don't care how a fucking foundation's built. Do you know what I mean? I don't give a fuck about that. Do you know, I really don't. Like I couldn't give less of a fuck about it, how roof trusses are made and class, like, do you know what I mean? That's proper, like, it's not interesting, do you know what I mean? In my opinion, it's very interesting to some people, but it's not to me. But I took the job anyway with some influence from like people, but I took the job, said fuck it, and I worked 9 to half 5 Monday to Friday, and I attended college then at night doing a civil engineering course, which I, to be honest, fucking despised from day one. But if I had dropped out of that, I was losing the job, and it was just a whole big fuck up. But like, regardless of it being a mistake or not, they didn't need to see me leaving results when I went in. I went into a course I wouldn't have got enough points for, because it was through a company, like, which I thought was unbelievable, because the school never told us anything like that, that anything like that even existed. Like, nearly had a stroke there saying that. But like PLCs are another big thing I'd recommend. Like a lot of people think that it's just for people who didn't get enough points and they're leaving cert to do what they want, but like I see it like completely different. Like supposing you're on two minds of doing a course, right? And you're not sure if it's for you. You don't want to commit 4 years to it, but at the same time, you think like, you know, I'd actually like that. I actually do think I'd like that. Do a PLC in it. Like, invest 1 year, one extra fucking year in a PLC course. Like, that 90% of the time can lead on to the course that you originally wanted to do, and that way you'll know if it's for you or not. Like, well, look, I rambled on about this subject for a little while now, but the main point I'm trying to make is schools are misleading young people. They're misleading them into thinking that they need to go straight into a 4 year course, a level 8 course, and if they don't, they're going to end up in the gutter and be a waster, when it's not the case whatsoever. Like, but one more topic I want to touch on before I move on from this is like the misleading of college students from their lecturers. Like in a course, let's use like hospitality management for example. Students are being told like the average wage they should be expecting to get, right? Again, let's say for example 40k, right? Then they're leaving the course with 40 other students who have the exact same degree and exact same experiences as them, with some sense of entitlement of what they should be earning. And like, the supply is bigger than I'm having strokes all over the place. Like, the supply is bigger than the demand in lots of industries. Like, that's why you hear so many stories of like students getting a degree in horticulture but never using it, and they end up working in a GameStop before they realise 4 years later that they actually want to work in the healthcare sector. Like, I'm not saying all courses are like that now, but like some of them are, and it's worth thinking about how big the demand is before you get into a course. But anyways, right, it's Corona time. I had to touch on this topic obviously because it's being plastered all over the news and all over social media. But one thing I've noticed is everyone's suddenly a conspiracy expert or a doctor all of a sudden. Like I'm sick of seeing Joe Blogs putting up or sharing something that says they're lying. It's a fact. They're lying. It's the 5G towers, or it's the ghost of Michael Jackson coming back to teach us all a lesson. Or it's more dangerous than they're saying. There's way more deaths than they're putting out. Or another one is my favourite one. The coronavirus doesn't exist. All the deaths are faked. They're all actors. Like, how do you know? Like, do you have mates that are government officials feeding you the goss? Like, everyone's suddenly a fucking expert. We don't know anything. Only what we're being told. So, like, if you delve deeper into it, and where they came from, it's not really helping anyone. Do you know what I mean? It's just sort of making things worse. Like let's say a coronavirus, which is a virus with no name. There's been coronaviruses before. SARS, for example, was a coronavirus, just not as aggressive as this one. Just do what we're told for now. Self isolate if you have symptoms. Call an ambulance if you feel like you can't breathe, and stop trying to figure it all out. Like, because like you'll only wind yourself up. Like, it takes the same, if it does take the same lifeline form as other viruses, it'll start, which it obviously has. Infections will shoot up scaredy high, and then one by one they'll drop out. The recovery rate will take over the newly infected rate, and then eventually it won't be a thing anymore, because that's how fucking evolution works. Like, there's been flu pandemics before, and the world's still here. It's not Judgment Day. Wash your hands. Don't interact with too many people for the next few weeks. Watch Netflix. Have a poxy wank and relax. Like, simple as that. But that's all for now. Shorter episode this week. They'll be getting longer than Pinocchio's nose, the little spoofer. Don't worry. But have a good Saturday. Keep talking shy. And wash your hands, you dirty pig.